So it looks like we are, oh wow. Okay, so we are live everywhere and we're except for Instagram. And that is launching now. Awesome. Okay, cool. All right. Well, welcome everyone to another 20 questions. I am Lisa Kastner. I'm the founder and executive editor of Running Wild, which consists of 5 imprints. And we are here with one of our phenomenal authors, Rain Wright, who we are going to be publishing her incredible book, The Language of Mothers, later this year. So I would love it. Rain, if you could just tell our audience a little bit about yourself and about your phenomenal book.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you for the invitation. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you to Running Wild Press. So my book actually came out February 12th, 2025.
Oh, apologies. Yes.
That's okay. You have a lot going on. I understand. So my name, again, is Rain Wright. It's actually Raindrop Wright. I go by Rain. I earned my PhD from University of Hawaii at Manoa, where I teach creative writing as a lecturer. This book came about as part of my dissertation, and it's a hybrid work, and I was just overjoyed when I found a home at Running Wild Press, because hybrid work doesn't always find a home easily, and it's a mix of creative nonfiction and poetry, and my mother's artwork kind of in conversation. It is definitely centered on mother stories, grandmother stories, and the mother-daughter dynamic. It seeks to kind of overturn these spaces that have often kept women quiet about difficult topics like mental health or domestic abuse. And the language is supposed to, the poetic and lyrical language is kind of supposed to overturn this idea of stasis and really show that there's healing through writing.
Fantastic. And for those who may be watching, just so you know, if wherever you are watching us, you're more than welcome to ask questions. Just go ahead and put the questions into the comments section of whatever social media you may be watching this, and we will be more than happy to respond. But in the midst of that, or in lieu of that, I have a bunch of fabulous questions that I am just going to start diving into. Cool? Cool. Okay. So what is the very first book that you remember reading?
Oh, that's a fun question. I think that I remember, I think it's called East of the Sun, West of the Moon, and I think it was Scandinavian. And my mother read it to us. It was a very old copy, and I love the artwork. And at one point I had looked up the artwork, and I think it was Kay Nielsen or something like that. Just really beautiful images. And once I could read on my own, then those stories were just a place of kind of wonder that I like to
Wow. I love it. And who is your first author? Who's your favorite author, rather?
Oh, another great question, but it's so difficult. I think that I couldn't pick one. I think there's different authors that I admire from so many different genres, and also from so many different kind of iterations of who I've been as a person. I mean, there are authors that I found when I was, say, 15, like Jane Austen, and I read on my own, and perhaps I didn't completely understand at that age, but the language drew me into writing a love of language. And then there are authors that kind of astounded me with their brilliance, like Toni Morrison. So I don't think I could pick one.
I'm right there. You've named several authors that I too absolutely adore. So I totally understand. Who do you feel influenced your writing the most, and how?
I'd say that I always had a strong desire to write, and I wanted to finish my education, and I became a mother quite young.
Mm.
But it was my desire to go back to school and write. Those were kind of my loves. And when I did, and I had these phenomenal professors who just showed me kind of a different world and brought me to different genres of writing. And maybe I didn't have the terminology to say creative nonfiction or memoir, autobiography, and understand how powerful that autobiographical I could be.
Mm.
So I would say that, so in Hawaii, in Olala, Hawaii, the word is kumu for teacher. It also means like the trunk of a tree or a
Mm.
foundation. So some of the kumus that I had, I would say inspired me to find a way forward in my writing. And if that's inspiration, then that's what it was.
Wow, understood. Um, what books made the biggest impact on you?
Hmm. That's another hard one because because when you fall in love, as so many writers do, with reading when you're young, there's like different stages of that kind of coming into reading, coming into identity through words and narrative. And some of them are quite silly. Like when I was maybe 14, I fell in love with the romance genre, and I don't think that's necessarily silly. It does particular work really well, and it's a lot of women's voices. But again, when I think about um, writers who come back to me over and over again, and their words replay in my mind. We have people like James Baldwin. We have people, writers like, again, Toni Morrison, Octavia Butler, Audre Lorde. And then in creative nonfiction, there are just some really phenomenal, spectacular writers who I admire so much, like Therese my Hot, and even, Audre Lorde's Zami, new spelling of my name is quite astounding.
Mm. Wow. If you could read only one book for the rest of your life.
I think this is my kind of go-to. I don't know how I would choose. So I imagine like being kind of, if you're like you can only read one. I imagine like we're in this post-apocalyptic kind of landscape, and I only have one book on me, and um, what would never wear thin.
Mm.
I don't know. Um, I don't think I can answer that. Any any of the phenomenal writers that I listed. Hopefully, I would
Okay.
find them in that post-apocalyptic landscape and be able to carry it with me.
Mm. Understood. Understood. What books do you reread all the time?
Um, because I teach, there are certain books that are like my go-tos that I go back to teach my students that I want to really bring to them. And I'm trying to think of which class. So maybe for creative writing, um, I teach a lot of the short story to my, and then I kind of split it, creative nonfiction and the short story. The short story, there's this book called Friday Black, which I
Mm.
think is quite powerful, and students respond to it really well. And there's this short story called Zimmerland that's set in the U.S., kind of in an unnamed time, and the theme park really is where people can enact violence without
Mm.
consequence on brown, indigenous, and other people of color, and they call it a
Mm.
theme park. So that's one writer I always go back to, and his name eludes me. And then James Baldwin I teach quite a bit. With creative nonfiction, I teach um, a lot of what's it? Oh, what is the name of that book? Whale sharks, fireflies. I can't remember it. And then I also teach Heartberries quite a lot. Enjoy Harjo's book, excuse me.
Mhm.
And when I'm teaching creative nonfiction and kind of the boundaries between fiction and creative nonfiction, I like to bring up Maxine Hong Kingston's book, Woman Warrior,
Mm.
Warrior Woman, which I think is just a wonderful example of what we can do with the genre. So I hope
Mm.
that answers the question. I don't know if it does, but yeah, these are the books I read over and over because I want to bring them to my students and have them read them for the first time. It's kind of beautiful to see their reaction.
Oh, I love it. And what inspired you to write this book?
This book, okay. I guess the easy answer is, again, moving these stories of domestic violence and mental health out of those places of kind of darkness or stigma, and saying that they're necessary to talk about. They're necessary to not silence women, but they were also kind of, in my mind, a love letter to my three daughters, being able to
Mm.
write about our experiences.
Oh, I love it. And who did you allow to read this book while you were writing it?
First, my three daughters, because when you write, life writing, memoir, you're not just writing about your life. I'm writing about their lives, and I needed their permission.
Mm.
In some stories, they're relational and they're about all of us, and some stories are just for them. So I took that ethical boundary really seriously. And then, because it did begin as my dissertation for my PhD,
Mm.
my spectacular, wonderful committee read it too.
Wow. Oh my. So now if you were at a dinner party with 4 seats, what 4 other authors or other individuals, living or dead, would you invite to your table?
I'm never good at these questions because I can never think just about. Okay, so there's 4 other writers I can invite. Um, I think I would invite some living people,
Mhm.
and I work with. I think every writer needs a writing community. There's this kind of misconception that we're like writing in these really dark spaces and, typing away at the keyboard, and some of that's true. We are definitely, having to produce those stories. But a lot of it depends on community too. Having readers that will read our work is important. So I think I would bring 2 of my readers who I also work with on a small press called Ho'olana
Mm.
Journal, and I'd sit them at the table. And then I know my one friend, Tiare Picard, um, just loves the book Dune, and I can't think of the author's name right now. I would let her bring that author. And then my other writing community friend, Ryan Oishi,
Mhm.
who would he bring? I don't know who he'd bring, but I'd let him bring a guest. And then I
Okay.
think, I would bring. So is that 1, 2? Is that's already 4 people? Okay, so we're
There
good.
you go. And what is your drug of choice?
I'm really boring. I don't drink. I don't smoke. Boring. Um, Tea with caffeine is about all I can handle.
Hey,
Yeah,
whatever works,
yeah, yeah.
And what book is your guilty pleasure? You mentioned romances, so.
Yeah, I mean, I outgrew that, but there was a period of time that I would go to the library once a week and just get a stack of them. I was about 14.
Oh
And
wow.
maybe I did feel guilty about, did I feel guilty? I don't know. They were kind of wondrous. And
Mm.
um, I was homeschooled that year. So, I went to the library quite a bit. And I just read everything. And when I found romance, it was kind of fun. And so that would probably be a guilty pleasure. I mean, I don't read them anymore, but
Mhm.
I like to think of that version of myself that really, enjoyed
Yeah,
that space.
it sounds fabulous to me.
Yeah.
What movie or TV show is a guilty pleasure?
Oh, let's see. Um, what movie or TV show? I think I'll have to say a particular genre, which is horror. And I like horror, not like really bloody slash horror. And I watched quite a bit of it during the pandemic because it sets humans in this world outside of their comfort zone, and we get to see how they engage and how society holds up. And I find it fascinating. And I actually teach a class called, it's a lit and culture class, and I teach it through Afrofuturism and Indigenous futurisms, but looking at that what if of horror through that kind of lens of Afrofuturism and thinking that there can be a better world than most of the mainstream movies, post-apocalyptic kind of show, and I think that the genre itself is fascinating.
Yeah, I love it. Do you read with music or with quiet or some type of sound?
I usually have to read with quiet, yeah, to kind of fully just immerse myself and blur out the background of the surrounding world. So definitely with as quiet as possible.
Understood. And if you could ask for the one thing to change the world, what would it be?
I think abolish systems of oppression, because most systems are kind of interlocking, and I think we just need to abolish those systems of oppression.
Understood. What does your reading environment look and sound like?
Um, what I like to do when I have time is I actually like to go to the beach. And I usually feel a little bit guilty if I don't take my dogs, but if I really want to read a book, I have to leave them at home, find a tree, um, just kind of park myself under that tree and just read for the day and have those little breaks of being able to dip in the water.
Mm. Oh, that's fabulous. Do you prefer paper, ebook, or audio?
Has to be a paper book. I like to physically hold the book.
Love it. Okay, perfect. And who would you cast as the main characters for your book and why?
For my book,
Yeah.
like if they were making a book out of my life.
Yeah, if they were making like a movie or a TV
Oh,
series.
movie. Gosh,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. Some unknown actors that need a shot at a movie, and my daughter who's in the field, so maybe she could play the role of young me or something.
Oh, oh, that would be fabulous.
Yeah.
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 If you could meet anybody, who would you meet and what would you ask them?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. I love this. My mind first went to Prince. I loved him when I was young. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna say Prince. I mean, I'm totally on that Pedro Pascal wagon right now, but
As you should be.
yes, everyone, he's delightful.
He is
Um,
delightful.
but Prince jumped to my mind first. So what would I ask him? Something about maybe his creative process.
Mm.
I'm not sure, but I probably would be a little bit in awe. But I would try to think of something worthy of him.
Yeah, completely understand. Um, Describe yourself in 5 words.
Mm. Um, I think that because the title of my book is The Language of Mothers, I'd have to go with mother first. But that is kind of, I think that kind of branches out into other, that has taught me other things that I really want to be. Is like a good community member. Um, and of course, I want to bring that word writer in there. But even with that, I think that it's all about not necessarily like just what you can do individually, but kind of how you can. How do I put this? I mean, I think that everything is again kind of interwoven, maybe. So being a mother has taught me what it means to be. What it means to be. I want to be a good community member. I want to be a good teacher, and I guess I want to make my daughters in my writing community. Um, I don't know, you know, whatever. So I guess those words,
No,
mother,
I can totally
computer,
see how
yeah,
those are
yeah,
intertwined. So
yeah.
that's lovely.
Okay, thank.
So describe your life in 5 words.
Okay, my life. Um, there were some really 5 words. Okay, I have to limit myself. This could be like one of those 6 words stories, right? um, my life: Big Island,
Mm,
Oahu, hiking, daughters. Big Island hiking, daughters, writing, gardening. I think that's my life.
I
I
love it.
have to weave teacher in there too, though.
Okay, okay. What was your last guilty pleasure? Anything. It could be food, an activity, what have you.
um, guilty pleasure. I like. I don't know. You know what I like to do? I like. So one of my daughters still lives with me, but the other two don't. But when one will come over to visit, the guilty pleasure is like, let's order ourselves like something fun to eat. So
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll order. There's this really wonderful restaurant up the road called Juicy Brew, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
we'll order from Juicy Brew or Peace Cafe, and we'll just kind of lounge around the living room and
Mm-hmm.
talk and eat really delicious food.
Oh, fabulous. If you could write yourself into a novel, would you be the hero or the villain, and why?
Oh gosh. I think my immediate response is I would want to be like not a round character but a flat character in the background, but I know that's not true. um, hero is such a strange word. It's never. I wouldn't want to be a villain. I don't think, not even for
Mm,
pretend. I'd have to be the hero, even though I don't really like that word.
okay. Okay. If there was anyone you dream you could work with, who would
Hmm.
it be and why?
Like in a writing capacity.
In any capacity.
Uh, hmm. I think that I would really like to sit for a moment, not necessarily fully work, but even just for a moment to kind of sit in the presence. And I know I've mentioned her before, but Toni Morrison, just to kind of sit in the presence and
Mm,
listen to her talk would be um, wonderful.
mm, understood. Okay, 2 truths and a lie.
2 truths and a lie. I almost drowned in a well. Um, I have size 5 feet. I ran the Honolulu Marathon.
Oh wow, that's hard. Um, you ran the Honolulu Marathon.
I did.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. When I was about 16, I ran it. And it was one of
Well,
those, when you're that age, and I was, I was doing gymnastics and biking and running. So it was basically, I just could do it. Couldn't do that now.
understood. Got it. So what one's the lie, if
I
I
have
may
size
ask?
5 feet. I don't have size 5 feet,
Oh, wow.
but I
Cool.
did. I
There,
did almost drown in a well. So
the way you said it, I thought, okay, that one's true. So, okay. So, and I realized it's like, why do you want to know? So, what size feet are you? Do you have?
6,
Obviously, you're not feet, but yes.
size 6. It was a weird thing to think, but it's what popped into my mind. So I do not have size 5 feet. I have size 6 feet.
Got it. Okay. Wow. Cool. Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to share?
Um, about my book,
Anything?
I yeah. So it's a strange thing. So when I teach creative writing, memoir writing,
Mhm.
I always tell my students that there's that, the ethical boundaries, and there's that also that you have to know that you're writing about real people, and that some of those people will be reading it. And you never write for revenge. But when my book came out, it still was like peeling another layer when people that I knew were, messaging me saying, I read your book. And even my family, like, oh, I remember it a little bit differently. But that layer, it truly is there. You really do have to remember that these real people are reading it. And I'm so glad that I kept that in the back of my mind when I was reading this, and always trying to approach these difficult stories with that kind of powerful concept of love, because love can be, it can be so many things beyond kind of the commodified or stereotyped notion of what it, you know, it is a powerful tool to remember that you want to build something with your writing. But yeah, that was a good reminder.
Wow. Well, I just want to thank you. This has been an absolute pleasure. And anyone who's watching, please, please, please check out Rain Wright and her phenomenal book, The Language of Mothers. The link is in the uh, banner. And if you are watching this after the recording, it's all good. Go ahead. Feel free to post any comments or questions into the comments section of the respective area where you're watching this, and I will be more than happy to pass the comments and questions along. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. And for everyone watching, have a truly phenomenal evening.
And thank you.